Ukrainian President Zelensky recently suggested using $300 billion in frozen Russian assets to buy US weapons and to rebuild Ukraine. Zelensky revealed in an interview with American podcaster Lex Fridman published on January 5 this year that previously he offered US President Donald Trump for Ukraine to buy American weapons at the expense of $300 billion in frozen Russian assets. Zelensky said in his wide-ranging interview with Fridman, "This is one of the security guarantees. Take the money that we need for our interior production and we will buy all the weapons from the United States. We don't need gifts from the United States." Zelensky added, "It will be very good for your industry, for the United States. We will put money there, Russian money, not Ukrainian, not European, Russian money, Russian assets. They have to pay for this." Zelensky did not comment on Trump's reaction to this suggestion. However, Trump and his team have been critical of US spending to support Ukraine. Michael Waltz, Trump's appointed national security advisor for his upcoming term, said on December 15 last year that a blank check just isn't a strategy. Until now, the G7 has only considered taking the rise in value of the assets and interest earned since the assets were frozen in 2022. However, the Ukrainian president wants all of the money to be used. In an interview with BBC News, he said, "If the world has $300 billion, why not use it?" Before I proceed, I encourage you to like the video and share your views on the topic in the comment section below. Your feedback is invaluable for us and a wider audience around the world. Despite some interest from the US and UK governments, Europe's central bankers have been far more skeptical about setting a difficult legal precedent that could undermine global financial stability. This could mean other countries will think twice about placing their assets in our banks. Belgium, in particular, is home to a large portion of the frozen Russian assets due to its role in the clearing system for European reserves. It has already applied a charge to some funds, raising €2 billion for Ukraine. Some of the defenders of the wider plan think tens of billions of dollars could be raised given some $325 billion in frozen assets and now high interest rates. Again, the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, President Zelensky said that Western taxpayers should not foot the bill for the war in Ukraine. He said, "We have $300 billion of frozen Russian assets. They destroyed Ukraine. If we have $300 billion of Russian assets, we have to use them directly to rebuild what has been destroyed by Russian missiles. Why does your society have to think about how to help? If the world has $300 billion, why not use it?" Bill Winters, the boss of British bank Standard Chartered, said the global financial community's response to seizing the profits of Russian frozen assets would be mixed amid fears of weaponizing central banks and currencies. "We may say it is worth it to do the right thing, which most of us would agree at a human level it's the right thing, but I think central bankers have a right to be concerned," he said. "In the long run, the US dollar plays such a central role that we do have to be careful about how we effectively weaponize it. It's already been quite weaponized through the application of sanctions. This would be a further extension of that," Winters told. The Ukrainian president told the World Economic Forum that some in the West were in denial that Putin was only interested in their territory and that his country was defending Europe and needed more help. So what is the Russian reaction to Zelensky's proposal to use frozen Russian assets to buy US weapons? Russia has criticized this idea, calling it corrupt and increasing tensions between the countries. Zelensky's proposal has sparked debate about Ukraine's international relations and raised questions about the role of Western powers in the conflict. The suggestion involves using funds currently frozen due to sanctions against Russia. Russia sees this move as provocative and harmful to peace efforts. They argue it could worsen the situation rather than help resolve it. The proposal highlights ongoing tensions and differing views on how to achieve peace. The idea of using frozen assets for military purposes is controversial. It involves legal and ethical considerations. Some believe it could set a precedent for handling frozen assets in conflicts. Ukraine seeks support from Western nations to strengthen its defense capabilities. It reflects Ukraine's strategic approach to dealing with ongoing threats. Russia's response underscores the complexity of international relations in this conflict. Both sides have different perspectives on what actions are justified or beneficial. The debate over Zelensky's proposal continues, with options divided on its potential impact. Now the question arises, will the Trump administration accept Zelensky's proposal to transfer the $300 billion Russian frozen assets to Ukraine? It is unlikely that President Trump will agree to Zelensky's proposal. Trump does not want to invest his country's taxpayers' money in Ukraine without any conclusion of the war with Russia. Trump wants a peace plan to stop the war and invest money in the people of the United States, as he told many times during the election campaign. Zelensky has taken steps to foster a positive relationship with Trump despite their previous fraught relationship stemming from Trump's 2019 impeachment trial. The two leaders met on September 27 last year during the US presidential election campaign and again on December 7 last year during the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral alongside French President Emmanuel Macron. Zelensky previously said that the country must do everything possible to end the war through diplomatic means in 2025, adding that a war would end faster under a Trump administration, which seems true. However, previously the G7 has agreed to use frozen Russian assets to raise $50 billion for Ukraine to help it fight invading Russian forces. Then US President Joe Biden said it was another reminder to Russia that we are not backing down. But in Moscow, President Vladimir Putin said the move was theft, which would not go unpunished. About $325 billion worth of assets were frozen by the G7 alongside the EU following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The pot of assets is generating about $3 billion a year in interest. Under the G7 plan, that $3 billion will be used to pay off the annual interest of the $50 billion loan for the Ukrainians taken out on the international markets. The $50 billion loan is a sizable pot of money when compared with the $61 billion worth of US military aid that was finally agreed in May last year and seen as a long-term solution to support Ukraine's war effort and economy. For now, Zelensky could only have the $50 billion loan amount raised by the G7 and the $61 billion aid given by the United States till now. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for new videos on important international topics.